Hello and welcome to the Daily Faded. This is where we get faded daily and talk about the news and politics of the day. So, thank you for joining me. Um, the COVID coup. Today is November 10th, 2020, and a slow motion coup seems to be underway in the United States of America. Coups aren't just for Bolivia anymore. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes. First, our daily look at what's going on with the coronavirus. Here are the stats from ncov 2019.live. 51 million confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the world as of today. 1.2 million deceased, with a very large daily death toll of 9,101 today. The United States has crossed 10 million cases. According to ncov 2019, 10,557,000, with 133,999 new cases today, which is a record. 1,330 deaths today, bringing us to 245,000 deaths total. And as I'm coming at you live from California, always check in on California's numbers here. And California is at 991,000 cases, with 8,272 cases today, which is a lot, and that number has been going up considerably over the last couple of days. And 64 deaths reported today in California, bringing us to the total of 18,069 deaths in the state of California from COVID-19. Or to follow the COVID tracking project, our daily update, states reported 1.2 million tests and 131,000 cases, the highest single-day total since the pandemic started. There are 62,000 people currently hospitalized with COVID-19. The death toll was 1,347. So, of course, different numbers from the ncov live tracker. And note, 62,000 hospitalized is a record. I'm at the end of my cartridge, and I can never figure out when they're quite done. Anyways, so with everything that's going on with the election, the coronavirus pandemic is at its absolute worst right now, and people don't have their eyes on the ball right now look, I think the national news media doesn't necessarily have their eyes on the ball when it comes to coronavirus right now. There are plenty of governors and plenty of mayors and county commissioners and so on and so forth who are handling it, doing the best they can. But of course, we are completely lacking any national leadership of any kind right now. We may as well not have a president. Well, getting back to the election, we're at 279 electoral votes to 214. Assuming Arizona and Georgia stay in Joseph R. Biden Jr.'s column, he will have 306 electoral votes, which is the same number of electoral votes that Donald Trump won in 2016, though not the number of electoral votes that Donald Trump received, because he only received 304 electoral votes due to two faithless electors. Yet another thing about the Electoral College that we should get rid of it. Is faithless electors, really? We vote for the electors, and then they can just go, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. It's really maddening. The only good news today, I lost an article. Let me see if I can find it. Fauci on CNN predicts widespread COVID vaccine availability by April. So that is some good news right there. But I actually, damn it, there's a different article that I wanted to do, and oh well. Okay, let's start talking about the Trump administration. Tonight's show may end up not being that long. If that's the case, I apologize. Unless you're not disappointed, and then it's all good. This is from Politico. OMB, that's the Office of Management and Budget, plows forward with Trump budget despite election loss. Biden is set to be sworn in on January 20th, at least 2 weeks before the White House typically releases its annual budget proposal in February. The Office of Management and Budget is preparing to move forward with President Donald Trump's budget request for next fiscal year in another sign of the White House refusing to acknowledge President-elect Joe Biden's win. An OMB spokesperson confirmed on Tuesday that the administration is moving forward with a fiscal 2022 budget proposal, which was first reported by the Washington Post. Biden is set to be sworn in on January 20th, at least 2 weeks before the White House typically releases its annual budget proposal in February, which lays out an administration's priorities for the coming fiscal year. The OMB official did not respond to a follow-up request for comment about the decision to draw up a budget, given that Trump won't be in the Oval Office in February to unveil his plan. Imagine the gall. I mean, this is what's amazing to me, is that you've just been voted out of office. You've just been voted out of office, and you have the gall to start making plans for beyond your term into the guy who got voted into his term. And you're so certain of your coup that you just plow forward. You just plow forward. It's remarkable. These people are such brazen criminals. Absolutely brazen. If President Trump wants to waste time and resources on a budget that will never see the light of day, that's his decision, said Alexandra Weinroth, communications director for House Budget Committee. But we look forward to receiving the budget of our 46th president, Joe Biden, in February. Key context: the administration's insistence on pulling together a budget request comes as Trump contests the results of the election and as Republicans lend credence to his voting-related legal challenges. For example, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell on Monday refused to acknowledge Biden as the president-elect and expressed support for Trump's legal moves. Mitch McConnell doesn't acknowledge Biden as the president-elect. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if a Republican won an election and the Democrats did this to him? Can you imagine what right-wing media would be doing? I don't feel like the mainstream media, the non-Fox News media, I don't feel like they're doing a good enough job telling this story, laying this out. Because when you put these pieces together, this from CNN, Ryan Brown, Pentagon finally confirms near total decapitation of civilian leadership in the last 24 hours. Secretary of Defense Esper fired Monday, the top Pentagon policy official, top Defense Department intelligence official, and chief of staff to the defense secretary, all out today. So it's a bloodbath at the Pentagon. Now, let me be perfectly clear. I have no love for Mark Esper. I oppose Raytheon executives getting the job of Secretary of Defense. I think they have a little conflict of interest. So I have no love for Mark Esper. But what's he doing? What's he doing? This is the kind of shit tin-plated dictators pull. Have you ever seen that video from Saddam Hussein when he first took power in Iraq? And he's speaking in a large auditorium, and his thugs start coming in and removing people one at a time, taking out all the barriers to power. All these positions in the Defense Department that they've just summarily dismissed people, they're putting Trump loyalists into every position. And by the way, illegally with the Secretary of Defense. So what exactly are those loyalists going to do? Why is Trump putting loyalists into these jobs with only 2 months left? Look, I don't think Trump is capable of a complex, nuanced, sophisticated, high-end coup. I don't think he's sophisticated enough. You know, he would not be the smartest warlord in Afghanistan. Obviously. Oh God. But anyway, moving on from the coup story. Although I shouldn't. This from the New York Times. Growing discomfort at law firms representing Trump in election lawsuits. Some lawyers at Jones Day and Porter Wright, which have filed suits about the 2020 vote, said they were worried about undermining the electoral system. So there are outside observers who seem to understand what Trump is doing, seem to understand what's going on. These are not exactly law firms that do all pro bono work. Although I did see that they did actually do some decent pro bono work in one of the articles I read on this. Like many big law firms, Jones Day, whose roots go back to Cleveland in the late 1800s, has prided itself on representing controversial clients. There was Big Tobacco, there was the Bin Laden family, there was even the hated owner of the Cleveland Browns football team as he moved the franchise to Baltimore. Now Jones Day is the most prominent firm representing President Trump and the Republican Party as they prepare to wage a legal war, challenging the results of the election. The work is intensifying concerns inside the firm about the propriety and wisdom of working for Mr. Trump, according to lawyers at the firm. You don't fucking say! The propriety and wisdom of working for Donald Trump. This man is going to be the greatest villain in presidential history. He is. He is. You know, yes, Donald Trump is going to be running in 2024, assuming this coup doesn't work. And I assume it won't because they're... But I'm assuming less now than I was even 24 hours ago. Back to the article here. Doing business with Mr. Trump, with his history of inflammatory rhetoric, meritless lawsuits, and refusal to pay what he owes. And soft, slow-motion coup, for Christ's sake. Inflammatory rhetoric has long induced heartburn among lawyers, contractors, suppliers, and lenders, but the concerns are taking on new urgency as the president seeks to raise doubts about the election results. Some senior lawyers at Jones Day, one of the country's largest law firms, are worried that it is advancing arguments that lack evidence. So far, everything they've said, everything they've done has lacked evidence. Ronna McDaniel. Oh my God. Kayleigh McEnany. These thieves, these fiends. Some senior lawyers at Jones Day, one of the country's largest law firms, are worried that it is advancing arguments that lack evidence and may be helping Mr. Trump and his allies undermine the integrity of American elections, according to interviews with 9 partners and associates who spoke on the condition of anonymity to protect their jobs. So, what happens in their staff meeting? Is it like, I know 9 of you spoke to the New York Times, 9 of you are in trouble. Now we're going to figure out which 9. At another large firm, Porter, Wright, Morris, and Arthur, based in Columbus, Ohio, lawyers have held internal meetings to voice similar concerns about their firm's election related work for Mr. Trump and the Republican Party, according to people at the firm. At least one lawyer quit in protest. Already, the 2 firms have filed at least 4 lawsuits challenging aspects of the election in Pennsylvania. The cases are pending. So, lawyers at these firms know that this is a colossally bad idea to get involved with Donald Trump. They know he has a reputation for stiffing people, for being difficult to work with, for doing exactly the opposite of what he's told to do, for example. Yes, under Mark's staff meeting of terror. Trump has opened the box and now all the stupids are out. It's true. It's true. I mean, there's so much stupidity to go around on the right, and there's a fair amount of stupidity on the left as well, to tell you the truth. And a little more stupidity here. Trump starts raising money for a new Save America PAC to fund his future activities. President Trump is directing, this is from the New York Times, money raised through his campaign's breathless requests to defend the election into a new political action committee before his recount fund, a move that allows him greater flexibility to bankroll his future political endeavors. The new group, called Save America, is a federal fundraising vehicle known as a leadership PAC that has donation limits of $5,000 per donor per year. It will be used to underwrite Mr. Trump's post-presidential activities, tapping into the vast reservoir of small donors that made him a dominant fundraiser for a time in 2020, until Joe Biden started smoking his ass in fundraising because there was actually more people in this country who want Joe Biden, who's winning the popular vote by over 5 million votes. I digress, but it is likely to have far greater significance for a man who is refusing not only to concede the election, but remains reluctant to surrender the spotlight. In that sense, his PAC could become a fan-subsidized machine to perpetuate his agenda and plot his next moves. So, here, this goes into in the days since the election, Mr. Trump's campaign has blitzed supporters with text messages and emails almost hourly, spreading unsubstantiated claims of widespread fraud and asking supporters to give to the official election defense fund. "We need your help to defend the integrity of our election," read one email early Tuesday morning. The fine print shows where the money is actually going. Initially, 60% of donations were going to pay off debts that the Trump campaign had accumulated. But as of Tuesday, that had shifted. Now 60% of donations are earmarked for Save America, which was registered with the FEC on Monday by Bradley T. Crate. Mr. Crate also serves as Mr. Trump's campaign treasurer. Only after a donor gives more than $5,000 does any of the money go to the recount account that Mr. Trump set up. In addition, 40% of every donation goes to the Republican National Committee. And just to throw one more twist, I don't have it. Oh God, I don't know what happened to my setup here today. I had a tweet that I was going to share with you about how this was from one of the White House journalists, White House correspondents that I follow, saying that Donald Trump Jr. and Kimberly Guilfoyle are trying to take over the RNC, which, seeing them sack Ronna McDaniel, now that would be satisfying, or seeing them demote her or something like that, that would actually be satifying. If Donald Trump, if DJ TJ, as they call him, actually took over the RNC. But you want to talk about fascism? Them running the RNC, them running all the messaging for the Republican Party, and this Republican Party in lockstep behind this guy? Meanwhile, they're just ripping people off. They're telling them that you're going to defend the integrity of the election, but 60% goes to the Save America PAC and 40% goes to the RNC. Only if they give over 5,000 does it go to defending the elections. So I don't know what to tell you. This is a bad situation, you know. And Joe Biden was extraordinarily civil today, and I give him credit for a measured, calm approach. He didn't attack Trump, but he did say that it was embarrassing and that it wouldn't be good to his legacy. But he didn't go any further than that. And I think that's right. But I want to say, one thing I keep hearing, this is a hot take I keep hearing, is that people are trying to massage Trump out of office. They're trying to let him go through it in his own way because it's hard to go through. No. I have no fucking use for that line of argument. That's ridiculous. That it's hard to go through, that we have to give him space. We don't have to give him space. We have to get him the hell out. He's got 71 days, and then he's gonzo. He's got to go. He's got to go. So this idea of like, well, let's play along with him. Let's play along with him? I mean, I think that's what Mitch McConnell thinks he's doing. Mitch McConnell's only interested in one thing, and that's getting Kelly Loeffler and the other Georgia senator, Republican, reelected. That's all he cares about, and he needs Trump to do that. So he'll indulge whatever fantasies Trump wants him to indulge. Oh, here was the tweet I was missing. 3 GOP sources, including close advisors to the president, say Donald Trump Jr. and Kimberly Guilfoyle are making moves to expand their influence at the RNC, with sources saying they may seek to take over the party structure themselves. Again, right on right-wing crime is fine with me. Let them rip each other to shreds. I have no problem with that. Real nice Coke. Trump's last con, you said there, under marks. We don't know what Trump's last con is. It's not this. He's going to keep going. He's going to keep being a con man. Ay. Well, guys, I had a couple of other articles in mind, but they seem to have disappeared from my desktop. So I'm going to call this one a little bit early. Thank you for watching. And I will be back tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Pacific, 11 o'clock Eastern. This daily is fated.